We'll call the governing board meeting of the Lammersville Unified School District Board of Education to order at 7 o'clock p.m. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. At this time, please take a moment to silence or turn off your cell phones. For those of you here that would like to address the board about a specific agenda item and/or during public comment, please fill out a blue comment card in the back tray so we know to call upon you. Item 1, Pledge of Allegiance. Principal Yeager, if you or one of your students could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Who's speaking first? Okay, so go first.
Ready, begin. Hand over your
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If you'd like to continue with your presentation, Mr. Yeager.
Absolutely. Good evening, esteemed members of the board, members of the Mountain House community. It is our distinct pleasure to open the meeting this evening. We have some wonderful representatives from our school's associated student body, our student leaders in government. They've put together a presentation for you. They are well prepared, and I'm sure you'll learn a little bit more about Cordis when we're finished. So it is now my pleasure to introduce our outstanding ASB leaders. Take it away, ASB.
Hi, my name is Bisman, and I'm in 8th grade, and I'm part of Cordis ASB.
Hi, my name is Devika. I'm part of the Cordis ASB as well, and I'm in 8th grade.
Hi, my name is Aishwarya. I'm in 7th grade. I'm also part of the Cordis ASB.
Hi, my name is Mandat. I'm part of the Cordis ASB, and I'm in 7th grade.
Welcome to Cordis, home of the cheetahs. These are our 2021 to 2022 Cordis ASB students.
So we have a few extracurricular programs, including CJSF, which stands for California Junior Scholarship Federation. The California Junior Scholarship Federation works with the advisor, Ms. Carbonero. Every trimester, students apply, and those who are qualified work together on community service projects. We have had over 50 students who are part of the program. CJSF has been providing community service at our school site and around our community as well.
ASB is known as the Associated Student Body and is led by our advisor, Ms. Carbonero. We have participated in developing and creating a float for homecoming, selling Boo Grims during Halloween, where we raised over $600, and selling pizza and water during Science Night, where we raised over $200. We will be using this money to go support the school. ASB has also had activities in Spirit Days for Ribbon Week, Kindness Week, and Read Across America Week. We also had students from ASB read to lower grade classrooms during Read Across America.
We also have other extracurricular programs such as Science Olympiad, Math Olympiad, basketball teams, our previous volleyball teams, and our upcoming soccer teams.
Some other activities we have are Red Ribbon Week, Kindness Week, Read Across America, Spirit Days, Science Night, National Music Month.
And some other ones that we have are Cheetah Mail, Wellness Week, Happy Spring Spirit Week, Teacher Appreciation Week, and feature activities such as College Week.
We've had many fundraisers in our ASB, some of which include the Cordis Spirit Wear, selling Boo Grims, selling pizza and water during Science Night, our upcoming Spring Grams, and our upcoming Fun Run.
These are the leaders of tomorrow.
Thank you so much for listening.
So are there any questions?
Thank you guys so much for coming and presenting. Great job. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you have homework or something fun you want to do, you can leave too. Have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 2, roll call, please.
Lisa Boulay,
Here.
Colin Clements,
Here.
Anita Daniel,
Absent.
Stephanie Olson,
Here.
David Pombo,
Here.
Sunita Jithendra.
Absent.
Item 3, approval and/or corrections to the agenda.
There are none.
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Boulay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item 4, committee reports. With the board's indulgence, we have one committee card, or one speaker card that would like to speak on item 4. So I'm going to move my comments on public comment now. Okay. So item 6, just reading the comments. The entire board appreciates hearing from members of the community and public at large. To facilitate this, the board shall give members of the public an opportunity to address the board either before or during the board's consideration of each agenda item, code section 54954.3. At a time so designated on the agenda, members of the public may also bring before the board matters that are not listed on the agenda of a regular meeting. The board may refer such a matter to the superintendent or designee or take it under advisement, but shall not take action at that time. The board may place the matter on the agenda of a subsequent meeting for a discussion or action. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. Speakers will note that there are green, yellow, and red lights on the podium on the lectern, and there is also a digital clock indicating the remaining time for each speaker. When the yellow or middle light lights up, the speaker has 1 minute remaining, so that speaker should begin to wrap up their comments and be able to finish at the end of their 3 minutes when the red light comes on. In order to be courteous and fair to other members of the community that have already spoken and only used 3 minutes, and to others that also want to speak, I will unfortunately have to cut speakers off if they continue speaking after their 3 minutes are up. For members of the public that are wishing to speak on the topic of mask guidelines, this topic will be discussed with item 10, subpoint C. When I announce that item, Dr. Nicholas will provide a report on Governor Newsom's recent announcement on Monday, and then I will recognize speakers for public comment on that item. I strongly recommend that members of the public wait until that time to speak on the topic of masks in schools so that they are informed about the district understanding and interpretation of the government's guidance and speak to that information if desired. That being said, if a member of the public begins speaking on a topic of masks during general public comment, I will not interrupt them. However, that time will count towards the 20 minutes allotted towards masks, which is item 10C. Item 4, back to item 4, committee reports. Miss, I apologize, Piccini? Piccinini?
Yes.
I apologize. Miss Piccinini, did you want to speak on the committees?
Yes.
Okay.
As I only briefly mentioned, it's not about masks.
Okay, nope.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening. My name is Vanessa Piccini, and my family and I have been living in Mountain House since 2009. We have a 4-year-old son who is scheduled to begin his academic journey this fall. And since we will be friends for the next 13 or 14 years, I wanted to make sure that I met all of you. In tonight's meeting agenda, you're set to discuss the district's Safe Schools Plan and the governor's Smarter Plan, which aims to set direction for masking policy, protocols, and guidelines. The COVID pandemic has wreaked havoc on the entire world. I can only imagine what it has been like to be in your shoes and to have to make decisions that affect an entire community. 2 years into this, we now have access to data that has shown that COVID-19 does not significantly impact children between the ages of 0 and 17 years of age. And still, our children continue to be coerced into covering their beautiful smiles in school every day. I am aware that the governor announced last Monday that students will no longer be required to wear a mask at school starting March 14th or 12th, it's a Saturday. The district board governance handbook states on page 3 that the board is committed to have the courage to do what is right for excellence in education for tomorrow instead of what is good enough for today. It also says that the board will continue to always do what is best for kids. My first request to you tonight is please cease enforcing the mask guideline at our schools. But masks aside, the Smarter Plan, plans to replace universal masking with universal vaccinations. In fact, California legislators have proposed Senate Bill 871, which requires all children 0 to 17 to get the COVID-19 vaccine in order to attend childcare or school. Senate Bill 866 would remove parents from the equation altogether and give 12 to 17-year-old children the ability to get the COVID-19 vaccine without parental consent or knowledge. Concerned parents across the political spectrum in both for and against COVID-19 vaccines agree these are overreaching and an attempt to encroach on the rights of parents. I respectfully request a discussion and a resolution or other appropriate action that would forbid the discrimination of students in our district on the basis of medical history. And I thank you very much for your time.
On behalf of the entire board, thank you very much for your comments. Moving on with item 4, committee reports. District advisory reports. Trustee Pombo?
Nothing to report at this time.
Sorry, District Advisory Committee.
Close enough.
Item B, District English Language Advisory Committee, that's me. The next DLAC meeting is scheduled for April 14th at 6:30 and is currently planned to be virtual, and this upcoming DLAC meeting is scheduled to be the final DLAC meeting of the current school year. Item C, Education Committee, Trustee Pombo.
Nothing to report at this time.
Item D, Facilities Committee, Trustee Olson.
Nothing to report at this time.
Item E, Policy Committee, that's me. As the board will recall, we suspended the activities. We will be coming at the next board meeting with a recommendation on what to do after the end of March for board consideration. Item F, Safety Committee, Trustee Pombo.
Nothing to report at this time.
And Wellness Committee, sir?
I will take over the report,
Oh,
please. Thank
Are
you.
you doing that? Is that
Aye.
you from now on?
Yeah,
Okay, then I will change that. I'm sorry, Trustee Boulay.
no problem. So the Wellness Committee met last Wednesday by Zoom. At that meeting, each of the school sites shared an update regarding the wellness activities they were doing for both staff and students. There were a wide range of activities to meet physical, social, and emotional needs. Director Busatil also shared the rough draft of the Gender Communication Support Plan for the district. This is a program that will allow students to communicate a change in their gender status to members of the school community. This program is a work in progress at this point. I am excited to report that the Farmers Market will be back this year after taking at least a 1 or 2 year hiatus. Taylor Farms will be hosting this event at each of the K through 8 schools between April 5th and April 7th. Our district nurse also reported that the school sites have received their results for this year's Healthy Kids surveys, and our next Wellness Committee meeting is on April 20th. That's all I have.
Thank you. Item 5, Governing Board Reports. Trustee Olson.
I attended the Mountain House High School varsity playoff game versus Kimball. It was a well-fought battle that we came up a little short, but I was really proud of the team because they didn't give up, and it was great to see the cheerleaders get one road game this year. I judged the state qualifiers for speech and debate last weekend, and I know that our Mountain House High School students did really well. That was reported to me, and they had some very tough competition, so I'm really proud to know that they did so well and that many qualified for state. And I would just like to invite everyone to consider attending or watching on Zoom the middle school San Joaquin County Honor Orchestra Band and Choir performance this weekend. We have several Mountain House students that are in each of those groups, and it's a wonderful accomplishment, and it should be a wonderful performance. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Olson. Trustee Boulay.
On February 17th, I attended the DARE graduation at Lammersville Elementary. It was a small but powerful ceremony, and I'm excited for those 5th graders who pledged to be drug, alcohol, and violence-free. And along with a couple other board members this past Saturday, I judged the high school speech and debate state qualifier. And again, there were a number of students that qualified and will be moving on to the state competition. So congratulations to all of those kids who competed. It's a lot of work that they put into this activity, and good luck to the students at the state competition. That's all I have.
Thank you both so much for doing that. You know how important debate and forensics is for me. And man, once again, I wasn't able to judge. I was disappointed. Anyway, Trustee Pombo.
I also attended the Lammersville Elementary DARE graduation. It's always enjoyable to attend those and see the excitement in the kids. I also attended the aforementioned Wellness Committee meeting. I participated in the HOSA fundraiser at Panda Express. All you got to do is give me a chance to eat and I'll be there. I also judged on last Friday and Saturday the speech and debate. A lot of talented kids in our district and in others. And then on Saturday, I also attended the HOSA Health Expo at the high school. Those kids are just amazing. That is looks bright for our future, the kids involved in HOSA, and that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Trustee Pombo. We are back to item 6, public comment. I already read the comments, so I have 2 speaker cards for item 6 in no particular order. Felicia Lopez.
I believe it will go to number 10.
So you want to move that to number 10? Thank you. And then the next one on item 6 was, and I apologize, Tristan Hool? Tristan Hool? Oh.
No, you just talk.
Yep.
Okay. So I just want you guys to know that, sorry. The situations I've been in are tough for a kid, and being sent home 3 times for not wearing a mask I don't really think is very smart to put a kid in that situation. And I've gathered some people that don't agree with masks. Some names. But that's all. Thank you.
Tristan, thank you very much for your comments. Okay, let's see. We prefer to get blue cards, but it's not required. So before I move on from public comment, is there anybody that would like to speak about an item that's not on the agenda that did not want to provide a blue comment card? Okay, thank you. Item 7, consent items for consideration. A, governing board meeting minutes, the regular board meeting of February 16th, 2022, 7 p.m. B, contracts under $50,000. C, ratification of 2021-2022 new hires. D, ratification of resignations. E, updated 2021-2022 fundraisers. And item F, approval of early high school graduation or reduction of graduation requirements petitions for 1 student. Item G, ratification of school-sponsored overnight trips. And item H, acceptance of a donation, $200 from Michael and Erica Whalen for Wickland School's 8th grade dinner and dance. Would any board member like to pull a specific consent item out for separate discussion and or deliberation? Or are there any questions or comments about any of the consent items?
I did just have one small correction. I'd like to, the minutes from last meeting said that no public comments were made, and then it listed 2. If we could just take that.
So we have I was just gonna, you preempted me. We had updated the minutes because there was a typo in there.
Oh,
so
okay.
What Trustee Olson just referred to has been corrected for the record.
Thank you.
Okay,
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
as a point of information, would that be consent items as amended?
Correct.
Consent items as amended.
Second? Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no noes, and 1 absent. Item 8, sorry. Oh, my apologies. Trustee Olson, would you like to do the honors?
Yes, we'd like to welcome the following new employees to Lammersville Unified School District. This week, we are just welcoming one. Natalie Piccini, Accounting Clerk, AP/AR. Welcome to the LUSD family.
Thank you very much. I apologize again. Item 8, District Administrative Reports. A, Superintendent's Report. Dr. Nicholas?
Yeah, I just have a couple of updates. First of all, the power outage was managed very well by our school sites and across the district. I want to thank Mr. LeGrand and his team. When you're faced with a unexpected challenge, such as a late announcement that they're going to shut the town off, and we have to manage our schools, the number one priority was to make sure the toilets were running and kids were fed and all that. And Mr. LeGrand and his team made sure everything was working. I believe the power went off officially around 8:12 this morning, and it came back on right around 10 o'clock in the morning. We contacted the Mountain House Community Service District General Manager, who contacted the water officials, and they said we were good to go. So we communicated to all of the sites so they can communicate to staff, and we went back to all systems go. The second thing is the County Board of Supervisors made the decision to direct their staff to cancel the Fulgent PCR testing sites. The issue was that they were, based on the contract, they had to have a certain amount of interest and traffic flow, and the amount of people asking for testing did not meet the requirement, and so they are in the process of shutting them down. So the partnership with Delta College and that particular site here in town is going to be shut down on their timeline. I don't know when that is. So that is my report.
Any questions or comments by the board? I would just say thanks for all the effort in getting it up and running.
2 weeks.
In spite of how quickly it got shut down. Item B, District Maintenance and Operations Report. Staff report?
Hey, someone's shouldering me at the podium. That never happens. That's awesome. Cool. Anyway, the Dr. Nicholas alluded to, the power outage was not a big deal today. My staff handled it very well, so my compliments to them as well. My worst nightmares come true. Mother Nature's not cooperating. We had to turn all the irrigation back on at all the sites. We started with 1 day a week a couple weeks ago, and now we're up to about 2 days a week. I already got complaints last weekend about flooding and so on and so forth. So I was hoping to help keep it off till April or so, but it's not going to happen. So that's where we're at. Our staffing challenges continue to improve every week. Getting people back. My operations staff have been very good about going out and helping out the sites as much as possible. I have the chemical inventory report from Keenan. It's actually 92 pages. I only brought the summary page. I wanted to go over a couple things. Under program review, we're rated effective. Under chemical hygiene, we were rated effective. Under hazardous waste, we were rated effective. The couple of issues we had, which are considered medium level issues, are in some secondary labeling, where someone takes a chemical and puts it in another container and doesn't label it properly. So we got a couple of things to clean up there. I've been working with Alvina on a project. We've been reviewing all the pre-qualification subcontractors for Costa. We worked on it 2 days this week, and the deadline is Friday, so we're going to finish up next week on Tuesday, and we'll be done with that process. On the 23rd, I met with the field engineer from our HVAC company out at the pool. We've been having some heater issues, as I mentioned last board meeting. We're going to be making some modifications to a couple of the valves on the heaters. Basically, what has been happening is that the valves that are there are allowing cold water to enter the units before it reaches a certain temperature, okay, and which is causing a little bit of shock on the boilers and creating precipitation in the flue pipe, okay. And when the gases burn it almost creates like an acid rain situation. It's eating away the metal on the burner, so that's what happened. So we got to make some modifications on that part. I don't have a price quite yet. When I get that, I will review that with Thor before making a move. Solar installations at Altamont. They're going to, about 2 weeks for the fence is going to be removed. Knock on wood. Bethany, they're doing some landscaping area around there. They got a little little concrete around the inverters. At Hanson, they have about 2 weeks and the temp fence will be removed. Wickland, they have about 3 or 4 weeks of backfill and they're working on the underground right now. Mount House, they're currently doing boring and the electrical overhead. And the fence removal is on schedule for the end of this month. Lammersville and Quest are on hold until Mountain House is complete. Upcoming items, next Tuesday, I'm doing a camera walkthrough with IT and our camera vendor out at the warehouse. We had a little break-in in one of our vans a couple weeks ago, so we don't have any cameras out there, so we're gonna get that resolved. Staffing update, our candidate for Bethany hasn't started yet. The lead custodian position at Altamont's still open, and we had another resignation at the high school. So right now we're 3 short. That's all I have. Happy to answer any questions.
Can I answer or ask a quick question about the pool heater? So I know the kids have started swim practice and possibly meets. Is the water, I mean, is it warming up to some point?
Can you help me?
The water boilers is the water warm at the pool?
What about it?
Is the boiler keeping the water warm at the pool?
Yes.
It's because the kids have started swim practice.
Yes, there are two heaters there, plus the solar. Solar's working, and the heater number 1 is working. Heater number 2, the heat exchanger was exchanged. There's a control board that controls the flow into the boiler. That's bad. That part's been ordered. But the temperature is right around 80-ish degrees, 78, 80 degrees. Miss Busatel, her kids are on the swim team. She said the water's very comfortable. So she keeps me apprised. And if something's out of line, she's happy to text me and let me know something's out of line.
Great, thank you.
So,
I have a question, and I'm sorry, this may have been asked and or answered previously, but I celebrated a birthday recently that seems to affect my memory, so I apologize if it's been asked before. But at Cuesta, since the solar panels are at the playground, is there going to be any kind of padding around the concrete part of the supports?
not that I'm aware of, no.
For safety
We did,
standpoint,
I don't think I ever came up. Do you remember that?
Okay.
No, I don't think I ever came up.
Yeah, I was just thinking kids running around at recess. Maybe I'm the only one that would run into something like that, but
Oh, no.
probably not.
Oh, no, I went running for a ball on the playground and ran right into the basketball rim.
Kudos to you, you're the first person to bring it up. So something we have a meeting tomorrow, we could bring it up.
Okay.
And we'll see how it is when the project's all done, if it's something we could look into for sure. Like you have on the goalpost on the football team, something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Your discussion, it's not related to this, but it's something to think about maybe for facilities. It does, and I apologize, I don't remember this, but does PG&E do our natural gas
Yes.
for the pool? for the-
PG&E does PG&E or MID do our natural gas?
Our natural
I'm
gas
sorry,
is
what?
PG&E, right?
Our gas comes from PG&E or MID?
It comes from
PG&E, well, MID for here, everything in the Mountain House, and PG&E is Lammersville.
That's
No,
electricity. The natural gas. I'm asking.
You guys would know, but I don't know. I was told, I think it's MID. I could be wrong. You
I
guys
believe all
live in
the
Mountain
gas
House.
is PG&E.
So I want to relook at the pool agreement with the CSD, because if my home gas bill is any indication, our cost structure is different. But we don't have to take up time now. Just
Fair enough.
thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Nichols.
Thank you.
Item 9, action items. A, consider approval of 2022-2023 inter-district transfer request. I'm assuming there is no staff report.
None.
Move to approve the 2022-2023 interdistrict transfer request.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item B, consider approval of LUSD TK through 8 high school, summer school, and extended school year ESY 2022. Staff report?
Yes, and again, this is one of the things I think that separates our academic program from many districts is our commitment to allow some students opportunities in the summer to not have summer learning loss. We are recommending the TK8 program is going to be smaller in scale than last year's learning loss mitigation plan, but bigger than we had done in the past with a target audience of students who have shown learning loss. The high school program with credit recovery and other opportunities for students, including those transitioning in math at the high school to the 9th grade. An extended school year program is related to students with IEPs, and it's something that all school districts are required to house. But the K-8 and high school program, we'd give more than we're required to. And at the K-8 thing, the district has committed historically to providing it when most districts don't. So we strongly recommend all of these high school programs, or all these school programs.
Thank you. Entertain a motion.
Move to approve LUSD TK8 high school, summer school, and extended school year ESY 2022.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item C, consider approval of Measure L General Obligation Bonds Financial and Performance Audit Report for the year ended June 30, 2021. Staff report?
Yeah, in 2016, the community passed general obligation bond Measure L for $56 million. Those funds have been providing us exceptional facilities since that time, mostly finishing the high school, some subsidizing of the construction of Hanson, a lot of field work, the labs and the learning commons at our K-8 schools. It's been a really wonderful program, and the generosity of the community is appreciated. One of the requirements of that bond was that we provide an annual audit to the Citizens Bonds Oversight Committee, the CBOC. That has been done, and this is the formal audit with no findings for the board's formal approval.
Move to approve the Measure L General Obligation Bonds Financial and Performance Audit Report, June 30th, 2021.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Boulay and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Item D, consider approval of 2022 CSBA Delegate Assembly Ballot Vote for Subregion 8A. Staff report?
Yes, every year we have the opportunity to select people who will represent CSBA organization, California School Boards Association. I believe there's one candidate on this list, so we would recommend the vote for that. And then we would submit that through the formal process with the other districts in our region. I believe there are 7 counties that make that up.
Do I understand that trustee Pombo?
Yes, I would like to, in addition to recommending a vote for Eric Duncan from Manteca, I would like consensus of the board to write in my name as a delegate.
Trustee Pombo, that makes me happy because I was going to actually suggest that this evening and try to encourage you to write your name in. So absolutely have my support.
And you have my full support as well.
Thank you.
What we need is a motion.
Oh, I move to approve the 2022 CSBA Delegate Assembly Ballot Vote for Subregion 8A with Eric Duncan, was that the candidate, and a write-in for Mr. David Pombo.
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Boulay and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries with 4 ayes, no nays, and 1 absent. Information and discussion, item 10, information and discussion items. A, first reading of the LUSD Safe Schools Plan and School Site Safety Plans for 2022-2023. Staff report?
Yes, annually we bring forward the safety plans. It's a requirement of the state, but this district has as an award-winning safety program honored by the prestigious Golden Bell Award from California School Boards Association. We do incident command here. We practice drills. We take things to the nth degree to make sure that we're prepared for any situations that might come along. We strongly recommend approval of these plans, and we want to thank the Safety Committee, including Trustees Pombo and Olson, Associate Superintendent Harrison, Director of Student Services Busatil, and all the people that help us out, from first responders and everybody in between. So strong recommendation, or we don't have a recommend, so I'm recommending that you enjoy talking about them.
And actually, to the public, I made a hasty generalization. There are a few of them that say item 10, but they comment cards that say it's item 10. I kind of assumed that they were all for 10 subpoint C. Is there anybody that wants to speak on 10A or B, and I'll make that happen? Okay.
Can I quickly I want to acknowledge everybody who participated in creating and updating the safety plans for each of the individual schools, because it's not just the school administrators, but I think some parents and from those school sites work on those as well. And I did it for Wickland a number of years ago, and it is very time consuming. So I appreciate everybody who worked on those.
That's the school site councils, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on a couple of different schools, yeah. Good point. Any other questions, comments, concerns by the board?
I just wanted to say that it was just really nice to see such well-written plans from all the sites, and that the safety of students is taken so seriously, but also, their well-being while doing the drills is taken seriously, because I remember when I was a parent and I came to one of the safety meetings that the goal isn't just to keep them safe, but to and do the drills, but to also keep them safe without traumatizing them in training for that. And so I really appreciate all the effort that goes to thinking of all those things and making sure that there is a plan and that people are prepared with that plan.
And I would just like to say that former trustee Balzerini was very involved and invested in the safety and safety plans at our schools, and he helped build a fantastic foundation for our safety committee and safety plans going forward, and just like to thank him for that.
Thank you very much. Item B, first reading of the 2022-2023 LUSD Wellness Plan. Staff report.
Similar in vein to the safety plans, we have a wellness committee. We bring in experts to assist in many dialogues around everything ranging from student health, nutrition, and the like, to mental health, and where we discuss some of the things and challenges that we face in 21st century education. And out of these plans, we're able to organize. It helps us with staffing and other policy implementation. So again, excellent job to Trustee Pombo and Boulay, who serve on that committee, as well as staff, Director of Student Services Busatil, Associate Superintendent Harrison, and others.
Questions, comments, concerns by the board? Great. Item C, Smarter Endemic Plan Direction for Masking Policy, Protocols, and Guidelines. Staff report.
Okay, so I put this together. It's kind of part and parcel of a presentation for the board and the community here tonight, but it's also going to be part of some communications that we will be sending out in the coming days to try to put together in one place all the new information that's been flowing from the state regarding all things related to the pandemic. What I can say is that on February 17th, Governor Newsom, along with a number of other government officials, made an announcement about shifting the state's focus on COVID-19 and all the related issues to that, from a pandemic plan to an endemic plan, meaning we have to have a plan to deal with it. It's going to be part of our lives, and how to be prepared. So included in this, I'm not going to show it tonight. It's a 58-minute video on the governor's announcement, but we will make this available to the community if they want to hear all the nuances of that presentation. Second there, and I know Noel's going to pull it up real quick, is a easy guide to the Smarter Plan that's been made available. This is a 30-page document, but we will again post this on our websites and make it available to the community. So if people don't want to watch 58 minutes, they have 30 pages they can read instead.
You're not going to read 30?
No, that would be painful. But in a nutshell, they've taken their plans as they move into the endemic mindset and built it around the acronym SMARTER. And so, in essence, in the thing, and just to so I did watch all 58 minutes of it, so I kind of understand what they're doing. It was presented in a giant warehouse where they're acting as a repository. So for shots and masks, they want to have an ample supply available if there were to be a surge or some kind of new variant or some challenge. They want to be prepared beforehand. They want to continue to provide awareness and communicate to people how to deal and live in a world that COVID-19 is in existence. They want to be prepared, so they are building these warehouses, or not building warehouses, but supplying warehouses with large amounts of supplies that they have learned over the course of the last 2.5 years or so on what we need to deal with a challenge such as that. They want to be prepared for testing, and so they'll have an ample supply of tests if the challenge were to come forward in the future. And then again, as stated in the State of the Union last night, and I don't believe it's funded, so this may not become a reality, but in that particular speech, it was said that there would be at like local pharmacies that do testing. If someone were to test positive, if funded by the federal government, the Pfizer and Merck pills that help people not get severely ill would be made available. That's possibly going to be added to this. Again, I can't say if they're going to fund it or not, but I know that testing and in this case, the RX part of this, which is having medicines available to folks, is available. And then ultimately, the education part, which is around they want to continue to have in-person school and have it to mitigate as much as possible so that schools run as normal as possible. Okay, so during that announcement, he also announced that he's going to have an announcement. So it was kind of a lead-in. So the February 17th leads to February 28th. So on Monday, we anxiously waited to hear what that announcement was going to be. As it turned out, the governor partnered with Governor Brown of Oregon and Governor Inslee in the state of Washington. And they announced basically the same plan, which is that the masking guidance would change, and it would start on March 12th, which is a Saturday. It's all right. And then the second, we'll get there. So then the CDPH guidance shifted, and it's a significant shift with using very few words. But there is a explanation. Go to the next slide, please. And so in the CDPH guidance, which when tied to an emergency order is law in the state of California, they changed the words to strongly recommend, and they replaced the words required. So when you're a government official and you have to follow the rules established by the state, the guidelines, the protocols and such, required is a have to, strongly recommend changes the dynamics. So what it says in asterisk 1 in the CDPH guideline is as follows. After March 11th, which is end of day, the universal masking requirement for K-12 and childcare settings will terminate. The CDPH, the California Public Health, strongly recommends that individuals in these settings continue to mask in indoor settings when universal masking requirement lifts. So, next slide, please. So based on this shift, we did an analysis. We kind of made sure we understood what the governor and the direction were. So staff is making the recommendation that we follow the same process that we've been doing, which is to follow the masking guidance and the state direction and the protocols and the guidelines by the California Public Health Department. So what we're recommending is that if the board gives direction to follow the guidance, that starting on March 12th, which would mean technically Monday, March 14th, that the masking requirement would change to strongly recommend. If that, whatever the direction is, we will be communicating with the community in the next couple of days. We would recommend that we continue to follow the guidance because it is currently the law, that until Saturday, March 12th, we continue to follow the masking guidance that we've been following. And one of the things in the communication that I would recommend is we make it very clear to the community and to our staff what our expectations are in terms of what we expect our staff to do. So our staff will continue to send symptomatic students who are ill to the school office to be handled as such. And we'll continue to remind students about the respiratory hygiene and hand washing. That has worked effectively throughout the pandemic. What our staff will not be asked to do is they will not be responsible for enforcing student mask use, even if requested by a parent or a guardian, and staff will not be asked to encourage or discourage mask use for students and colleagues. It's our job to implement the protocols and expectations from the state as the policy requires, and that's what we are recommending that the board direct us to do. And in the last slide, just a reminder, for 21-22, the school year, we offer a number of different options to families. The first is a traditional in-person instruction with the highest performing school district in San Joaquin County and the region surrounding the Bay Area. We offer a Lammersville education online for K-8 students whose families don't feel comfortable with their students who attend school. We call that LEO. The teachers are housed at Lammersville Elementary School. And we offer to high school students who are uncomfortable in the current environment specific to the COVID. Mountain House Online Pathway program is part of our overall EPIC program, and that is available. And also there is short-term independent study, which is a contract that's worked out between the school site, teachers, and a family for up to a period of 10 days. And so this is an update to the board of the governor's announcement both on the 17th and 28th, and the recommendation of staff for how to implement what has been set out for us. And that's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nicholas. Okay, I have 5 comment cards that I believe want to speak on item 10C, and based on our time guidelines, all 5 can speak. Is there anybody that wants to speak on item 10C that did not wish to fill out a comment card? If not, I'm just going to run top to bottom. If so, then I got to figure something out. So is there anybody that wants to speak that didn't give me a comment card? Okay, then in no particular order, since all 5 are going to speak, Felicia Lopez.
Hello and thank you. Here we stand on March 2nd, 2022, almost 2 years since a bioweapon was released upon us all, and we were forced, and I say that because I've lost family members to COVID. I've lost family members and loved ones to the vaccine. I've looked into what's going on. I've lost my company of 17 years to this pandemic. I don't use the word bioweapon loosely or lightly. I'm serious when I say it, due to the research I've done. Okay, we were forced into stopping life as we knew it for 2 weeks to slow the spread. At that time, we were ignorant about the virus and its impact on all of us. However, 716 days later, we are ignorant no more. We know that school boards can and have made decisions that go against the CDPH guidelines and recommendations, and it was guidelines and recommendations that were the words used on their website, not requirements, guidelines and recommendations. And they have not, these school boards that went against those guidelines and recommendations were not dropped by their insurance companies, and they did not lose access or had to pay back their ESSER funds. This school board has had this entire time all the legal capabilities to make lawful and legal decisions to eliminate COVID mandates from schools in this jurisdiction. You are our elected school board members, and it is your job to do what is right constitutionally and educationally for our kids. The mask requirements for in-person education must be dropped today. There is no magic surrounding March 11th or the next day, March 12th. It only is 9 more days of you, the school board, being complicit with illegal activities subject to assault and child endangerment. Also, do not think for 1 minute we are going to let you mask our children again in the fall or any other time ever again. We are ignorant no more. I accept your oath in office to protect the children. Lammersville School District is in default and has been put on notice.
Thank you very much for your comments, Ms. Lopez. Janie Savalos? Did I pronounce that wrong? Oh. Is it Avalos?
Avalos.
Avalos, sorry.
It's okay. I'm Janie Savalos. I'm a parent of 2 children in Lammersville School District, and we weren't quite sure what the presentation was going to entail tonight. But as a parent, I just felt very strongly to approach the board to state that I am very pro-choice when it comes to masks. I'm also very pro-choice when it comes to vaccines, but that's not the subject tonight. So thank you for the presentation. Sounds like it is going in that favor, and I just wanted to state my opinion. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much for your comments. Ms. Avalos? Avalos, sorry. Damn. With a name like Colon, it's important to me to get people's names right. Mr. Matt Carpenter.
Good evening. How you doing? My name is Matt Carpenter, and I am a long-term resident of Mountain House. I come here tonight once again to ask to drop the mask mandate sooner rather than later, not just at the date the governor happens to decide. As spoken about earlier, this thing's gone on long enough. It's been a long time coming. This needs to go away. This is having effects on our children that we don't even know what the permanent long-term psychological effects are going to be. I have 2 children attending school here. We've been attending school since preschool. Now they're in 4th and 7th grade. As the years have progressed, the quality and level of education has been excellent here in Mountain House, as indicated, as you guys previously indicated. I cannot ask for better public school programs such as what we have going on here. The administration and the teachers have been outstanding and receptive to the needs of our children. With that in mind, I'm asking the school tonight to drop the mandates and any future mandates and go to mass choice now. This needs to happen soon. It needs to happen now. With that in mind, this needs for our children outweigh the uselessness. The needs of our children outweigh the uselessness of such mandates. The idea of choice should be first and foremost for the families that have students in class. Numerous studies by esteemed institutions have shown the mandating masks for everyone has little to no effect. The psychological impact of the mandates on our children has yet to be played out. Journalistic outlets such as the Atlantic, National Review, and the New York Post have cited these studies showing the little effect this is having on what our stated goal is of reducing COVID and all that stuff going on in society. As new guidelines come into play later this month, I would urge you to drop the mandates before this time and to go to an optional mask model like you described. And I would ask the board to refuse future mandates such as outlined in the SMARTER program. SMARTER program is a nicely packaged extension of emergency powers by the governor, which tend to be however they want to play it. Because as we've all seen in many, many times, the governor tends to do what he wants and not necessarily what he says, and requires us to abide by it. And it's just, that's not how this is America. We have a constitutional rights. We have, the ability to stand up and speak before our representatives here, which is what I'm doing tonight. And with that, I thank you very much for your time, and please take this into consideration. Have a good night.
On behalf of the board, thank you for your comments, Mr. Carpenter. Blake. And again, how do you pronounce the last name?
Hool.
Hool. Blake Hool.
We tend to answer to anything, but
I do too with a name like mine, but still, I apologize.
so my name is Blake Hool. I've been here since the end of 2004, 2005. Had 7 kids go through this school district. We're happy here. We like the schools. We like the community. Essentially, I'm speaking to the mask mandates. As we learned tonight, or on the 12th, whatever day it was, 28th, they're lifting it. I'm urging you to do that sooner. This is an opportunity for the board to show its people, its community, that its feelings for their children, and the parents to have a choice, because it's our legal right. And for you to give us that opportunity by stating that you're going to drop it before the said date. We had an incident with my son He spoke tonight, Tristan. And by the way, that piece of paper that he was showing you, that was a petition. He went around his school asking all the kids at school who does not want to wear a mask anymore. And that's that list of children that he asked. And I also want you to know the psychological damage being done is unreal. Because as he's walking around, he has kids grabbing the pen, scratching names off of it and calling him names and stuff like that. So this masking unnecessarily is damaging. And I'm not going to put it to the level of racism or anything like that, but it is very similar, very similar. And again, I'm asking, please lift it now. Don't wait. You don't have to wait. And as I said I had an incident at the school. My son, he's been struggling with having to breathe this mask forever. He gets anxiety with it and everything else. So we finally reached a point where he told him, you don't want to wear it, don't wear it. And so he went to class. He didn't wear it. We got a call. We came down, and we were told, this happened 3 days in a row, by the way. And right now I'm a little nervous in front of everybody, so I can't remember what happened on what day, but during one of those conversations, we had talked to the vice principal and the principal, and they said, this is out of our hands, we can't do anything. And I said, then get somebody here who can make a decision. So they had a member of the board come down, two actually, and in that situation, mind you, my son is now being kept in a room by himself with no instruction, no nothing, no supervision, no nothing, just by himself in a room. And we were told that essentially if we didn't take our son off campus, they would go down the list of contacts. And if nobody came to get him for being a healthy, non-symptomatic child at school, they would call CPS, which is a huge threat to a parent. You don't call CPS. It's my time. Thank you for giving me the time to speak.
Thank you very much, Mr. Houle. Brian Hicks.
Good evening, board. My name is Brian Hicks. I have a pistol of a second grader at Cuesta School right now. And so my wife and I wanted to talk to you about our experiences with her and the things that she's faced. But before I begin, I want to echo some of the parents' statements about this is a phenomenal school district with a phenomenal staff, with an outstanding community, and we're inter-district transfers. So we don't live in Mountain House, but our daughter goes here. It's excellent. We've been nothing but happy with her education here and our experiences here. If you ask my daughter anything, she'll tell you exactly what she feels. She's a little fireball. But the things that we've experienced and we've noticed with her is nothing takes the wind out of her sails more than when I ask her about how her day is at school, and she gets nervous and anxious, and she tells me, like, I couldn't hear what the teacher was saying, and I can't understand what my classmates are saying. And then the amount of anxiety that we've seen with the mask mandates being eased on adults and out in public places, the anxiety she gets by not having a mask, just to go out and do run simple errands. Like, those are traumatic things that we're experiencing at home, not to mention the amount of the rash she gets around her face from wearing the mask all day. It's just, it's too much for a 7-year-old. It's way too much for a 6-year-old and 5-year-olds. And it's too much for these little guys. It's too much for most young adults, I feel. So as elected officials on this board, we give you a tremendous amount of respect by electing you and having you serve, and you're not in those seats if you didn't have that respect of the community out here. And part of mandates, and why most of us are frustrated, is because mandates, we don't have a voice and we don't have an opinion. And part of respect is entrusting that it's a two-way street. So part of respect that we would like to see as parents is give us the choice to make that decision for our children. I know it's coming on the 12th. I would like to echo what the other parents said about easing it sooner, but I feel that would be the biggest show of respect to the community and to parents and to everybody involved, is to take that guidance from the state, but also a week isn't going to change anything. So I would like to formally request that There's no more mask mandate, obviously, but I would like to see that happen sooner than later. And parents, I appreciate everybody for coming out, and really for everybody watching at home, all of us, like, this stuff ends when more people speak up about it. Okay? So thank you, board, for your time. I appreciate everybody's time this evening. Thank you for serving the community, and you guys are doing a great job. Thank you. Thank you, parents.
Thank you, Mr. Hicks. The 20 minutes is not up. There's time for one more public comment. If anybody's here that didn't turn in a blue card and didn't raise their hand earlier, now's the time. Thank you all for being here, for participating, and for your comments. Board, do you have any questions, comments, concerns? I actually have a clarifying question, if I may, on the presentation. The staff will not be, after the mask mandate is lifted, the staff will not be encouraging, like, we're not going to be strongly encouraging, we're not going to be encouraging, discouraging. It's parental choice. But if a child, their parent, they and their parents say they want to wear a mask, the child gets the mask dirty, we're still going to provide, as long as we can get them, we're going to still provide PPP. You know what I'm saying?
Correct,
PPP
yes.
For the students.
All
right?
of that will happen, yes.
Right, okay, all right. Anybody, questions, comments, concerns?
I was thinking about the same thing, though.
I would just like to say that I feel for all the parents that spoke. Unfortunately, our opinion of the mandates, my opinion as a board member of the mandates, really is not the issue here. The issue is with the state and the state guidelines, and under the emergency powers that the governor has, these are law, and we don't really have the latitude to break the law.
Thank you for your comments. This is our time to speak and to discuss amongst ourselves. The clarification point, is a law, is not a law. We go to our attorneys, and attorneys for an organization, we as an organization can't rely on something that an attorney to another organization says. Attorney advice is one of those things where it's worth what you pay for it. If you didn't pay the attorney, they're not beholden to you. They don't have a fiduciary responsibility to you. We go to, if I'm understanding correctly, and we've been down this road, we've asked 6 ways from Sunday, trying to make sure that we understood, and our attorney's advice, the attorney that represents us has guided us that those are mandates that we have to follow.
That is correct.
I've done a lot of research, and maybe I shouldn't have, right? I've got an epidemiologist from Berkeley that says masks were never any good, and I've got one from Harvard saying we shouldn't release the masks, and it's specific to schools, we shouldn't release the masks until April. They're both epidemiologists, they're both from good schools. At the end of the day, I'm not an expert in public health, and from day one, in the beginning, we said, this board and the district has said, we're not experts. We don't know when masks need to be required. We don't know when they can be released. We want them to be released as soon as we possibly can. Our attorneys that represent us have said, you face potential legal consequences. And so we face a choice, what's the word I'm looking for? Lifting the mask mandate before what our attorneys have told us is a mandate, and that we are obligated to follow, or waiting until March 12th when we're no longer required to follow it?
That is correct. So maybe I can help kind of tighten that a little bit. School districts, along with other big entities, are often the focus of litigation. We, in closed session, have the opportunity to discuss litigation when it comes our way, and we follow the advice of our attorneys to avoid that. Now, anytime there's a litigation in the district, and we have to pay a portion out of the general fund, which takes money away from our kids. So that's why we're very cautious about not following attorney advice. And when you add to the fact that this is a $125 million operation with a $75 million operating budget, those are big dollars. And so we, as a school district, are, one, not funded well by the state and the local control funding formula system, and two, we have to be very cautious with our money. And so to try to tighten your statement, when the attorneys give us advice to be cautious about potential litigation, we follow it to protect the general fund and the money that goes to the kids and our staffs. And two, we do it because if we were wrong, then that would put us at risk of taking money that we need for other things. And so to answer your question, that's why we followed the advice of our attorneys.
And I would just like to continue and say that I feel like the fight is not with us because our hands are tied in this. The fight is with the state. And I don't know if you have, if any of you have, I frequently reach out to my state senator, my state assemblyman, and the governor and say, hey, I don't agree with whatever it is that I don't agree with, and I let them know. And that's what we need to do, is let the state know we don't agree with you. And if enough people stand up and say, we don't agree with whatever it is, we don't agree with this, then that's where some differences can be fixed.
Trustee Pombo, I just want to echo that because I actually did write a letter to Governor Newsom after his February 17th announcement, which was a non-announcement for schools, and urged him to please give us the off-ramp for schools because, you know, this uncertainty is stressful and I get it. I get the frustration people feel when every other part of the state is unmasking and they want their kids to unmask. I have a legal background. Our attorneys are excellent. I just want to make sure that's clear that they know their stuff. I graduated cum laude from my law school. I know how to do legal research. And I was confused on mandates too. Is it a recommendation or the law? And legal language that says must and required as a public entity, we have to follow that. And if we don't, we can be liable. There's a thing in the law called negligence per se. And when there is a guideline that's required by law, a mandate, and you don't follow that, and somebody gets sick, because during that time, they don't have to prove negligence in court anymore. So that's one big part of their case. They don't have to prove it, and it's so legally speaking is one thing. I have 3 kids. They don't like to wear their masks all the time either. My daughter has to cheer in a mask, and it's not fun. I am very sad to not see her smile. And I have a 7-year-old, and she would, like to not take her mask off. But this district has 7,133 students, and I've received messages from the other side of the coin of parents that have asked me to please add guidance. They want us to continue with the masking policy, and I think the fairest thing to do is just follow the guidance. Whatever it is, just follow the law. And I'm glad that Governor Newsom has made this announcement because I think freedom is important. But as a school district, one of the speakers tonight said that mandates, we don't have a voice. And school districts don't have a voice either. Like you were saying, Trustee Pombo, it comes from the governor, and he makes a lot of decisions and then tells us, okay, that we're having a mask mandate and you get to enforce it. And then, you know, we're left to do that. And to Trustee Pombo, or Trustee Clement's point, I also did a lot of research, and I could find, as a debater, I could find evidence to support both arguments. And so being responsible for 7,133 students and growing, and their safety and their well-being, their mental well-being, I'm not a health expert, so I have to defer to the experts, and I have to believe that they have the best interest of our children at heart. And I believe lifting this mask mandate shows that that they do see the need for kids to have a choice. That's all.
I do want to say that I am excited about the upcoming change, that we are going to be lifting the mask mandate. And I know it's 9 days away. I see that as a light at the end of the tunnel. I think so many of us are done with masks. It is difficult to communicate with a mask. It's hard to hear in a mask. I wear a mask when I'm at work at 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day. It's hard. When I'm in the locker room by myself, I take my mask off. So I get it. I also understand that there are some schools that have ended the mask mandate, and then from their insurance companies or, I don't know, legal suits have changed their decision within days because they realize that as a district, they can't maintain that. And honestly, I would rather see us focus on giving the kids a good education than spending the next 9 days having to fight, I don't know, insurance companies or legal battles. I know it's 9 days, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
So the district recommendation is to follow the guidance.
Correct.
Which means we would relieve the mask mandate at 11:59 p.m. on the 11th, which means the 12th, or actually the Monday, the 14th.
Correct.
And do I hear a consensus of support for that recommendation by the board?
Yes.
Yes.
So then this would go on the next board agenda as an action item? Is that how that?
No, this is an info discussion. We would follow the board direction. We've been applying the guidance just like we would. We have some communication to do to get information out to the community, some organizational logistical stuff with staff to discuss in that period of time. And then our plan would be to, on Monday the 14th, go forward, and it'll be under the new guidance.
Dr. Nicholas, could I ask a question just on the guidance you're giving to staff, the encourage or discourage mask use for students? There's also, like, parents on both sides have come to me and said that my child is being made fun of because they take their mask off at recess, which is allowed, or being encouraged to do that. And I know that we are giving that guidance, but I'm just hoping that we'll also have, encourage staff to be on the lookout for students who are doing this to other students, because I think that is happening a little bit, and I think that, we need to just hopefully help them all and respect each other's choices.
And I would hope that any kids being badgered by other kids, whether it's for wearing masks or for not wearing masks, should be treated like any other disciplinary bully type action and dealt with accordingly.
Correct. So let me address it, as I believe it came up in reference to Tristan. There's a subtle way and an overt way to ask for help. A kid can go ask for the teacher for help, or if they're not comfortable with that in any form of bullying, is you can ask for help with the school, a phone call. We have an entire department dedicated to assist students in a wide range of things, and bullying would certainly fall within that. We have a PIBS program. We have our staff train in that. So any form of bullying, and I want to say this to the whole community, if you're having an issue with your kid at the school, please give us a call. And we have lots of resources to bring to bear. Most of the time, we are able to solve it at a very small level. What we want kids to go to school, be comfortable, be able to sit in class and learn. So whether it's related to masks or related to relationships amongst students, please, if something's going on with the kid, please give us a call. We have lots of staff outside of the teaching staff who are trained and can help and resolve any conflicts that your children are having.
Can I just say one more thing? I want to thank all of you for showing up and for showing your respect, again, for our decision and for each other. There are, in the news, board meetings that have gone crazy, and I'm really proud of this community. Thank you.
I would like to echo Trustee Boulet's comments. I really appreciate that all of you conducted yourselves with dignity tonight. Whether we agree or not is beside the point. You presented your case with respect, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
I would like to echo that too, and thank you all for coming tonight.
I would echo that as well. Thank you very much. I do have one more question. So teachers, and we have the best teachers on the planet, right? But if a teacher feels strongly that a mask, that masking is the right answer, and there may be one or two that feel that way, as I understand this, they can't look at their class and say, one way or the other. They can't look at their class and say, gee, I want you to mask up.
I guess in reacting in the moment, I would say that would be the same as advocating for a political party or a particular global issue, and that's not the role. What we want to be able to do is provide a neutral position. We want people to be able to decide. They go on Monday, on the 14th, they go to school, and we kick in. What we keep talking about amongst staff is we want to hit the rocket boosters. This thing has gotten in the way, this pandemic. We were on the precipice of exploding. We had all these programs lined up, all the stuff that we do that the folks, and we appreciate your appreciation of our programs. But we were ready to go to the next level in this, and this thing got in the way. So where we're at is we're getting everything ready to reload the engine to get going. So moving back to your question is, on that day, kids need to come and do what they need to do, and we don't need any distractions. We want to set the stage for all of our kids, so as we end the year strong, we can start next year stronger, and that's where we're focused on as a staff, as a district, all our teachers, all the way through the administrative staff. So yes.
Dr. Nicholas, I just had one other question that I believe you answered it maybe in an email, but this, starting March 14th, faculty and staff will also be able to take off their masks?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I was assuming that. Thanks for asking. So we have a consensus. We're moving forward. Okay. Item 11, calendar. On Wednesday, March 16th, 2022, the next regular governing board meeting at 7 p.m. here in the district boardroom. Item B, Thursday, March 3rd, 2022, San Joaquin County Annual School Boards Dinner. That's tomorrow. Brookside Country Club. I think all of us are going, right? We'll see you there. Item 12, adjourn to closed session. In a moment, we will adjourn to closed session where we will be discussing the following. A, student discipline, other confidential matters, Ed Code, sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B concerning student expulsion. Item B, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, Government Code, section 54957. Item C, conference with real property negotiators, Government Code, section 54956.8. And item D, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code, section 54956.9. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I beat you that time.
And I will second.
Based on a motion by trustee Olson and a second by trustee Pombo, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone.
And I would like to again. Did you break it?
It's only 2 clicks, but
Are we supposed to be wearing masks, or are we okay now?
I don't think this is on.
Children are not present.
Yeah.
Action items from closed session on March 2nd, 2022. Closed session item A1, student discipline and other confidential matters, Ed Code Sections 35146, 48900, and 48912B, pupil personnel Ed Code 48918. Item 1, student expulsion number 21-22-05. The board take action on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson to approve staff recommendation for the expulsion of student number 21-22-05 for violation of board policy and administrative regulation 5131.7 and Ed Code 48900B for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year by the following vote: 4 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, and no abstentions. Closed session item B, public employee discipline, dismissal, release, complaint, Government Code Section 54957. On a motion by trustee Boulay and seconded by trustee Olson, the board adopted a resolution pursuant to the applicable provision of Education Code and authorized the district superintendent or his designee to notify certain certificated employees of their release from his or her probationary positions by the following vote: 4 ayes, no noes, 1 absent, no abstentions. I will now entertain a motion.
Move to adjourn?
Second.
Based on a motion by trustee Pombo and a second by trustee Olson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. We are now adjourned. Thank you.